What's up, guys? I'm bored on a Sunday. Just wanted to answer some questions from my previous airbag videos. I actually had more questions about the roof rack than I did the airbags, so I'll go over this Thule system real quick and then show you the back rack. So I used a 60-inch Thule Evo Wing Bars, and these towers are specifically for bare roofs, so roofs that don't have factory rails. And this is very universal. These 60-inch bars can fit all kinds of different cars. I actually had 50-inch bars on my Fiesta ST I sold on Facebook Marketplace. Picked these up used on Facebook Marketplace as well. The Evo Wing Bars are an aero design. These caps flip up, and then there's this little track system where you can use Thule proprietary little T-track bolts that fit through this gasket, which I used to mount this Yakima Low Pro basket that was used. This thing's really old. It was probably 80 bucks, 60 bucks, probably 5 years ago. These were old Thule sidearm bike racks that I took apart, sanded down, and painted with just rattle can high temp engine enamel, because that's just the color I wanted. Rattle can clear coat, again high temp engine enamel. Turned out good. The only thing that is vehicle specific is the fit kit. So you order the fit kit for the Maverick, you get these rubber pads that just snap on to the feet of these towers, and then you get vehicle specific clamps. You don't have to run anything with locks. It's a good idea too, if you can afford it. So I have locks in each tower, and then you can see on the back side of that bike rack I have locks as well. It's not super high security, but it'll keep an honest person honest. So I have a matching set. One key will fit all my towers, the back side of these rack locks, and also these locks on the sidearm. So if you unlock this cap just snaps off to reveal a little Allen bolt, and when you tighten that down, that's what sucks this claw up and tightens your rack down to the roof. I'll link a video in the description of how this works, but basically there's a little plate in here under spring pressure. When you push that spring up, there's a little knob that slides in this channel. When you release it, that spring pressure clamps this to the rail. As you can see, there's numbers on a little slider, I'll slowly back out, that are labeled underneath the rail on this channel. You just set that slider to whatever the instructions call for your vehicle. You slide in this tower, you butt it up against that slider, then you know you have the perfect distance from tower to tower for your vehicle. And this little vehicle specific fit kit pad will sit perfectly where it needs to. That's what it looks like for the Maverick. And then this clamp will loosely fit under this molding, and you'll go, you know, half turn to a turn, whatever, back and forth on each tower with the provided torque Allen tool they provide. Once it starts to ratchet, that's as tight as this needs to be. It is marked 3 Newton meters if you want to use an actual torque wrench, but the tool that Thule provides will ratchet at the right torque, so you know you have the right tension. My sidearms don't use this top channel for mounting. This is a universal, super old bike rack. I just use clamps, top and bottom. I've had this on like 3 different vehicles now, and it works great. All 4 pads are the same. All 4 clamps are the same for this Maverick fit kit. Towers are universal. 60-inch rails fit lots and lots of vehicles. I was gonna try to use the 50-inch rails I had on my Fiesta ST. It was literally like an inch and a half too short, maybe 2 inches or something like that. So I couldn't reuse my 50-inch rails, but was able to sell those and pick up some used 60-inch ones, no problem. And this is prototype number 2. So I took down my original video because someone noticed and commented that this side brace was lower than the left side. I thought they were just being rude, you know, wanted to just take a stab at me or whatever. Literally, when I got home, this side brace was probably over 2 inches higher welded up here than the right side. I don't know how I missed that detail. I mean, I did mention in the description that I tend to eyeball once, cut twice, and that's exactly what I did. So I went straight home, hacked this side off, actually measured top to bottom to match the right side, welded it back on, and just touched up the paint and threw it back on. So I'm pretty stoked on this. This just sits on the bedside. This cross member isn't touching the paint. There's a tiny gap there. And I just welded some hinges on this angle iron. So this can just hinge down. And I used some channel nuts. You can just get at your local hardware store that fits these factory rails. And since I'm losing, you know, about 1 foot of space on my factory rails, I use eye bolts for my mounting bolts so I can still tie stuff down if I need to. I can loosen these up and be able to slide this rack back and forth. I could take it off. I can scoot it back to clean that back window if I need to. But pretty simple, clean design in my opinion. Did try Herculiner roll-on truck bed liner for the first time. It's alright. It was cheap. I didn't need a full case of U-Pole Raptor liner for this project, so I opted for just a small can of Herculiner. I think it's going to be plenty durable. It's a super rough texture. It came with all these little textured pieces in the paint, so I just stirred it well and rolled it on. I didn't have to do anything to try to get this rough texture. My sister-in-law threw a 2x4 through her back window the other day, so that's what got me thinking I might need something like this, because the truck is pretty short even with the lift and 32s on it. Still short enough that I could easily throw something through that back window. Besides aesthetics, it is pretty functional. So if you have long items, 2x4s, ladders, or whatever, now you can load them with the tailgate up, angle them up to the top of this rack, and strap them down so you don't have your load hanging out the back of your truck bed with the tailgate down. Also, for safety, if you get in a crash, hopefully that rack will stop any of your payload coming through that window, harming you or your passengers in there as well. So that's kind of the functionality of it. I think it just looks cool. On vacation this summer at Jellystone Campground, we met a family that had a steel shop. They were moving everything across states, and they couldn't take all the steel with them. So they gifted me what I needed, what I thought I needed to make something cool out of it. And this is what I came up with. So shout out to that family. I'm gonna send them a thank you in the mail here in a bit. But super blessed I could do this project for free, basically.